Here on the ground, change happens fast. Problems feel frequent and urgent. It's loud and anxiety runs high. From a satellite view, the Earth looks the same as it did thousands of years ago. We've been here before. Let's learn from our past and shoot for a better future.
So Joe Biden seems to be a bit on fire right now. He called the MAGA Republicans semi-fascists. I think most of us think that he should have left off the semi part of that and just called them fascists, but still, for him to go that far, it's what most of us agree with. I'm talking to you from the 30th of August in Space and Time Continuum. Today, he went even further, and he was saying things like, I mean, my God, man, what side are you on when he's talking about Republicans not denouncing January 6th and not denouncing the fact that Donald Trump is being investigated for breaking the Espionage Act? He also was talking today in Pennsylvania, talking about law enforcement and saying Republicans right now are saying defund the FBI. The Democrats are the ones who are pro-law enforcement. And, you know, most of us are going, yeah. He's finally, he's saying things that we think. He's saying things that we want somebody to say. It goes back to when Barack Obama passed the Affordable Care Act. He introduced Barack Obama, and then he said, this is a big effing deal. But he didn't say effing. He said the actual word. And back then, all of us sane people who wanted something better with healthcare were thinking, yeah, Joe, don't walk away from the mic and say it right into the mic, And I'm not just doing a Joe Biden thing here. I'm saying Democrats in general, politicians in general. The best politicians are the people who are not afraid to just say what's real. The best politicians are recognized by people as like, hey, he seems honest. He seems like he's really, or she seems like, they're really sticking up for what they believe in. Oftentimes, even when people don't agree with what they're talking about. Like, I don't agree with this person, but man, they're really honest. I'm going to vote for them because they're really sticking up for what they believe in. And I have a lot of respect for that. That's what I've been wishing. And I think most people have been wishing would happen. And it's happening. It's happening this week. It's happening over the last 6 weeks. Maybe even longer. I was just talking with my wife, Heidi, and we were talking about the awakening of the white supremacists. We were kind of talking about, you remember when Barack Obama started singing, Amazing Grace at that event? He just broke out into song. He was the president of the United States. And he starts singing Amazing Grace. He's, not the greatest singer, but he just starts singing it and the whole crowd goes into it. Tear-jerking, wonderful, like, oh my God, most of us want this type of person to be our president. We want a human being who's got feelings and thoughts and emotions. And we would like for our leaders to emulate our own feelings and emotions. And in that moment, Barack Obama did. But there were an awful lot of people who hated that moment because they hate the goddamn N-word who's in the White House. It's a racist, white supremacist thing. Oh, and then we went on to say, Donald Trump gave the white supremacists permission to climb out from under their rock and speak out proudly about their white supremacy and racism, and that they are racists. And I said there was nobody who loved that moment when Barack Obama started singing, who then became a white supremacist when Donald Trump gave them permission. We got to always remember that there's a very small amount of people who are white supremacists and racists and Nazis in this country. For a while, we thought they were all gone because they didn't have permission to speak out. They would be ridiculed. They would be, chastised for speaking out. And then Donald Trump came along and basically gave them permission to if you hate everybody who doesn't wear the same color shirt as you, it's your First Amendment right. We talk about then people who watch Fox News. Fox News is the most watched station. Okay. Still, I want to make I want to point out here. There's 330 million people. I'm stretching my right hand out, not even far enough. And then in this 1 inch, there's 1 million people. Fox News brags about that their shows, beat and they haven't been winning anymore. Rachel Maddow has been kicking their ass. I think other shows have been kicking their ass too over the last couple of years. But Fox News bragged about, hey, we had 1 million people tuning in to, the Tucker Carlson show or whatever piece of crap, lying horribleness that they put on. Oh, and that's okay. You had more people watching your show than other people had watching their show. By the way, again, not true in the last couple of years because other people have been beating them. But when you brag about 1 million people watching your show, what's the percentage of the population, even in the United States, much less the world? That's a very small sliver of people. Very small sliver of people. Even if you want to talk about the election, what was it? 74 million people voting for Donald Trump in 2020. In the year where we had a higher percentage of turnout than ever before. And we always have more people turning out than ever before. So the number you got to watch is the percentage of the population turning out. And we had a higher percentage turning out, but on the Democratic side, we had a much higher percentage turning out than on the Republican side. 74 million votes. Yeah, that's impressive, but you still got your ass kicked by almost 7 million more votes for your opponent. The Democrats are fired up more than they've ever been. They turned out in 2018 and they turned out in 2020 to unprecedented basically in the history of the United States. And it's going to happen again in 2022. And again, I want to point out that Fox can boast about people tuning into their shows, but 1 million people in a country of 330 million people and in a world of 7.5 billion people, 1 million people watching your show is nothing. And also it needs to be pointed out that those 1 million people are, people who have nothing better to do than watch TV from 4 o'clock in the afternoon until 10 o'clock at night. Actual thinking, intelligent people don't watch TV that much. So the other shows, and you're also not including streaming. So when Fox News boasts about, everybody says Fox News is the most watched network on TV. First of all, they're not on TV. They're only on cable. Second of all, that doesn't mean anything. It means nothing. That just means that you have the most dead to the world people on your side. Fox News is losing their viewers. They lost a lot because of COVID, because they were all a bunch of old people who didn't want to get vaccinated. They lost a lot of their viewers because their viewers are, I'm sorry to say it, but their viewers are in the final moments of their lives, and their lives keep blinking out. So their viewers keep blinking out. Fox News, to give them credence for what they boast about, is just simply not an accurate way to measure, certainly the voters in the country, or the enthusiasm for things. Joe Biden speaking out, calling MAGA Republicans, and by the way, he did invite, he said moderate Republicans, he invited them in. Moderate Republicans, you're still in favor of the American democracy. So you need to vote for Democrats, because right now the Republican Party is completely under the purview of an insane fascist who we're finding out is also a traitor. Espionage. We're using the word espionage right now. It's like we're in a Cold War movie from the 1980s. The former president of the United States is under investigation by the Department of Justice for breaking the Espionage Act. The majority of Americans are not behind the former president who is under investigation for breaking the Espionage Act. A very small sliver of Americans are behind that, can I say MFer? I mean, we need to be reminded that the vast majority of Americans are like you and me. The vast majority of Americans agree with Joe Biden when he calls them semi-fascists. I would say even more would agree with him if he left off the word semi. And when and it's so funny that it's Joe Biden now. Barack Obama was the young guy. He was the guy who was supposed to be doing this. I'm not criticizing Barack Obama. The moment for Joe Biden was perfect. But Joe Biden is kind of like, you know what? I didn't want to be president. I came out of retirement. Everyone said that I had the best chance of beating this fascist in the election. So I came out of retirement. I did not want to be president, man. I've been in DC for, generations, plural, and I'm done. I was going to go home and just hang out, get a couple new dogs, hang out with my super hot wife, and, but no, I had to come back because I was the best bet in beating Donald Trump. And basically, he doesn't give a F anymore. He doesn't, he's like, I got no more Fs. So I'm going to say what needs to be said. And I feel confident that most Americans agree with me, and he's right. And that's why right now he's, the best politician, because the best politician is somebody who's completely honest. I'm not calling him the best there are plenty of other people who tie or exceed on that level, and you can. I'm always against saying, what's the best, what's the worst. That's BS to me. It fluctuates, and to me, Kamala Harris is an incredible because she's honest and sincere. And she's ready to have fun and dance. She's ready to be one of us. We all want to dance. We all want to show up and, have a drum corps at our campaign event and dance into the event along with the drum corps. That's what, if you remember, that's what she was doing during the primaries. And by the way, she was a big part of passing the student debt relief and the huge bill that just came in too. She was a big part of that. She doesn't take credit for it because she's the vice president. And she's too humble and professional to take credit for it on her own. I think it's up to us to give her credit when it's due and point that out. But that's another story. The fact that Joe Biden is saying what all of us, what the vast majority, what 99.9% of Americans really think, the fact that Joe Biden, as our president, our commander-in-chief, is saying it into microphones at speeches constantly over the last few weeks, after putting his head down for a year and a half, having everyone on his side and the opposite side criticizing him for not being exciting enough, for him putting his head down for a year and a half, and then all of a sudden over these last 6 weeks, breaking out the results of his hard work, where he and all the people around him, they completely ignored the polls and the media. And now they're coming out, and the results are just coming by a few, not just one every day, a few every day. And it's stuff that Americans want and have been waiting for, agree with, and are very happy somebody's doing it and saying it. Fox News can brag about their viewership, but their viewership is a minute sliver, a hairline in a mile-long yardstick. And, don't be intimidated. Don't think that, too many Americans watch Fox News. No. Hardly any Americans watch Fox News. A hairline amount on a mile-long yardstick. I guess you would call it a mile stick, right? Don't lose your hope because too many people watch Fox News. Barely anybody's watching Fox News. And a lot of the people who are, reported as watching Fox News watch it like I would, and trying to see how crazy it is. So a lot of the viewership of Fox News don't even agree with what's going on Fox News. The fact is we're stronger than we've ever been, us true Americans who want to maintain American democracy. We're stronger than we've ever been. We're more engaged than we've ever been. My daughter, who's going to be able to vote in her first general election this year, and all of her friends are really fired up. Roe v. Wade, guns, these issues, the young people, women. We're having an absolutely insane amount of women and men between the age of 18 and 25 registering to vote, more than ever. This is going to be an incredible blowout, this midterm election. Mark my words. You've been listening to A Satellite View with host Todd Mikkelson. Go to toddmikkelson.com for links and more information.